Good morning, everybody. Thank you for having coffee with me this morning. Lots of familiar faces. Is there anyone who hasn't been on one of our live Zoom calls yet? Dan, Amanda. What's your guy friend's name, Amanda, so that I'm not like, oh, the guy that's with Amanda. Dr. Mel. Hey, Dr. Mel, great to see you. Awesome. Cool. So what we're actually going to do today is we're going to drink some coffee because you can't really accomplish much without a little caffeine today, right? We're going to jam on the ecosystem. One of the things that, I hear from students a lot is, Laurel, every time I see you do an ecosystem deep dive, something hits a little bit different. Okay. Now, here's why that actually happens, because for those of you guys who don't know, I work with a guy named Nick Peterson. I've been working with Nick Peterson since October of 2019, so a very long time. And every time I watch him do one of his presentations on his R3 framework, which we're going to talk a little bit about today, it hits different. But here's why, because it's important that I think that you guys understand why it will hit different every time that you see me do a presentation like this. And it is because if you are consistently coming to these calls, you're going to be coming to these calls having done some of the work, gotten some of the data, and have a new understanding of how this works, right? And so here's the deal. Anytime that we are consuming information like videos, we're only retaining about 10% of that information. And so if you consistently come to these live workshops, if you consistently go through the stuff that's in the $7 program and you're implementing, we learn things through implementation. So when you're going to come to this call, you're going to see something today that's going to hit that you didn't understand before because you've already done the work. So a lot of times we can't see 30 feet in front of us. Sometimes it's just like, Nick always says, just putting on your headlights and just seeing 6 feet in front of you. Because I think so many of you guys are trying to see the big picture way too soon when you're not even like knowing like what's 6 feet like in front of you. And so that's why like every time that I do these things, it's going to hit a little bit different. Okay. Now, another thing is, this morning I was going through all of my Voxer messages. So for those of you guys who don't know, in Lean on Laurel, we have one-on-one conversations through Voxer. We also do, live Zoom calls and stuff like that. But I actually had 2 students this morning that messages were waiting for me inside Voxer. And total transparency, these are 2 students who have been in my program. I want to say one has been in my program for 5 months. The other one has been in for almost a year. We're talking 10, 11 months, okay? They both messaged me and they were like, Laurel, I am getting so much momentum. I have gotten so many booked calls, and not only have I gotten booked calls, but I've gotten booked calls with people who are at a much higher level than what I was getting before. And both of them were like, holy shit, I wished I would have understood your power content strategy months before. They were like, because now I'm starting to see the benefits of building that invisible list. Okay. Now, some of you guys are on this call and they're like, wow, it took them 5 months. It took them 9 to 10 months to get results. That's the reality, guys. Like, I know a lot of people want to sell you guys on it's 90 days to success. Some of you guys, it is the pathway to success, but this all depends on how well your offer is actually positioned, how well you're positioned as an authority, right? How well people can move through your funnel. How well are you at articulating what you're actually selling? These are all different things, right? If some big box coaching program recruits me and they're like, hey, Laurel, I think you should do a webinar funnel, right? And we'll run the ads for you, right? And they'll sell people into Lean on Laurel, which, by the way, there's always a waiting list for, right? And they grab one of you guys and they're like, I'm not going to, just one of you guys, right? I don't want to call anyone out for this example, but They grab one of you guys, you don't have a validated offer, you don't have an audience, and they run a webinar funnel for you, right? And we both spend $10,000. Who do you think is going to get the best results out the gate? And it's going to be fucking stellar results, right? Not to toot my own horn, but this is 6 years of me building this audience, right? But that big box coaching program is going to take credit for the thing that I have already built because they built a webinar and they ran ads, but they're only piggybacking off of the success that I have already done for myself, right? And so every time that people look at these, testimonial walls, you have to think, what work was done before this person came into this program that gave this person the amount of success. And so that's why, I know we're kind of starting off the call, Laurel, you're supposed to be talking about really fast success stories. I'm not here to sugarcoat anything. It's hard work. And that's just the game, right? But I will say this, we will start this call off with a bang because there is a really, really amazing opportunity right now. I know, people are saying, well, Facebook ads are dead and all funnels are dead and all of that stuff it's not dead. People just don't understand that the market has changed. The market has gotten sophisticated, right? All of you guys know if you opt into a webinar, you're going to be pitched to. People know what webinars are. People know what lead magnets are. People know what all of these different things are. And so now we have to be better than we were a year or even 6 months ago. Because there's so many, have you guys noticed some of the big players, not to call anyone out, a lot of the big players are pivoting. They've got new offers. Why? Because what they were doing for years is no longer working. And so that is why, everyone wants to know my secret. Laurel, you're still selling the same thing that you did 6 years ago. Your ads ecosystem is still the thing. It's because it freaking works. And I didn't build it based on short-term tactics. I based it on long-term strategy and principles, right? And we have to understand those principles. And so what we're going to talk about today is my ecosystem and why did I build it in different phases? Which phase should you actually start? And what do you need to know right after this call to actually go in and do what's 6 feet ahead of you, not what's 30 feet ahead of you, okay? Now, I'm going to do a shameless plug here because I'm doing something over the next several months, and I've been dropping hints that if you have not applied for Lean on Laurel and you've been thinking about joining Lean on Laurel, over the next several months, you will want to be in the program. And here's why, especially if you want to book more calls, because I am going to be doing my discovery call accelerator from start to finish. Not only that, Nick and I are going to be building R3 over Zoom to where you guys will not only get access to me, but you're also going to get access to Nick. And it is going to be one hell of an opportunity. If you guys don't know Nick Peterson, people spend, hundreds of thousands of dollars to spend time with him every single year. It's like 100K to work with Nick, easy. And so even if you're, Barack says, can I join if you're new? Here are the stipulations to that, okay? You have to know your way around Ads Manager. I'm not teaching anyone how to install a pixel. I'm not teaching people how to do any of the basic things. You have to know your way around Ads Manager. You need to know how to place the ads. But we will literally build the discovery call accelerator from start to finish. So even if you don't have a validated offer, even if you don't have any of these things, we will literally be doing everything from start to finish, including validating an offer. You have to have at least $500 a month to spend on ads because anything lower than that is not going to be realistic. I'm not going to tell you, we have some people who are using $300 a month, but in the beginning, you need the data. So $500 a month at least. You get access to me on Zoom, on Voxer every single day. I have students who literally Voxer me every single day. Laurel, can you help me out with a hook for this video? Yep. Blah, 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 blah. Walkie-talkie, right? Here's the hook, right? You get access over Zoom calls. We have Zoom calls as needed. That's one of the things that people love about Lean on Laurel is we don't spend a lot of time on Zoom because Zoom calls are freaking kryptonite to our businesses, right? The longer we spend on Zoom, the less shit we get done. And so that's why I switched from a group model to a one-on-one model through Voxer. And then we hop on Zoom calls as needed. Like today, I'm doing me and Nick actually together are doing a call with my Lean on Laurel students a little bit later this afternoon. So if you want in on that, like I said, it's one of those things where I'm going to be giving the most access through the rest of the year. And then if you want access to my mentor, Nick, and, to build R3, which we're going to be talking a little bit about today, it's retention, referrals, and raving fans. It's literally the sales and marketing system that he taught me over the last several years. We're going to be rebuilding it because him and I have a mastermind that's called the Success Circle. And we wanted to have some type of curriculum for that. And so we're literally layering my ads ecosystem with his R3 sales and marketing system together. And we're building it from the ground up in curriculum style. And we thought, what better way than to do it in front of people with direct feedback. So it's really cool. And that's one of those things that, I hope that you guys take away from watching me do things, right? I'm always leveraging. Like anytime that I'm on a Zoom call, I'm going to leverage that time to do more than 1 to 2 things, right? Because a lot of times we do things one time and we're like, oh, that was not probably the best use of my time. But anytime I'm on Zoom, anytime I leverage my content all the time. So yeah, we've got a couple of people who've already started going through R3. It is pretty freaking amazing. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm actually going to share my screen first because I want to actually walk people through the different phases and why I actually built the different phases. So if we go into the program, right? And if you're new, don't worry, you're probably going to feel like you're getting fire hose to the face. That's okay. It's normal. So the way that I actually built out the program with the Get Ready protocol is the very first thing you're going to see is the ads ecosystem that you should start with. Okay. Now we're going to do some of the stuff that's in this video. I'm not going to go into in depth because this video right here is a really in-depth video on the principles behind the ads ecosystem. But what I want to focus on is there's phase 1 of the ecosystem, there's phase 2, and there's phase 3. Okay. Now, when people come into the program and they have already been running a direct response funnel, let's say they've been running a webinar, let's say they've been running an email funnel, let's say they have been running a self-liquidating offer. These are the people that by far have the most success the quickest in my program. And that's why I'm very, very careful as to say, well, if you join in 90 days, you're going to get 30 to 40x ROAS, right? That's why I'm always careful to say, if you're already running a funnel and you're already getting 2 to 3 return on ad spend, you can get 30 to 40 times your return on ad spend by running phase 3, but it's because they already have a lot of warm traffic. Okay, so that's phase 3. So if you come into the program and you already have a funnel in place that's already converting at 2 to 3 times your return on ad spend, we're going to start in phase 3. And I'm going to explain why here in a little bit. Phase 2 are for people who already have warm traffic, whether you are just running a basic audience building strategy or if you have an organic audience. Phase 2, the only difference that separates phase 1 and phase 2 is in phase 2, you're just simply validating an offer, whether that is a high ticket offer or a low ticket offer. Phase 1 is when you are starting from complete scratch. You don't have any warm traffic at all. Okay. Now, even some of the people who come in and they've already been doing things organically, they've got warm traffic on their organic side. But if they don't have a way to be able to bring that organic traffic into their business manager or a way that we can pixel them, they have to start in phase 1. Okay. Now, the place that I want to start with today is actually talking about funnels because I think so many people start funnels way too fast. Okay. Gonna bring in an old friend, my marker board. Haven't really used it in a while. I've been using my iPad a lot, and I'm like, I'm gonna go old school today. And we're gonna draw on the marker board today. So let's actually talk about funnels, right? Because so many of you guys have bought a program or you've been taught, hey, I should build a funnel, right? So I'm just going to build, I love working with people who have VSL funnels or webinar funnels. They're my absolute favorite, right? Landing page, webinar watch page, and then an application page to book a call. Okay. I know there's a little glare on it. We'll just have to make do with it, right? So here's why this will not work for most of you guys who are sitting in the room, right? You go into a big box coaching program and they're like, oh, you have a high ticket offer. You need to build a webinar. That's the only way to sell a high ticket offer is through a webinar, right? How many guys have ever heard that? The only way to sell a high ticket offer is to get people through a funnel, right? Well, if you're getting people through a funnel, the numbers don't really work out in your favor, especially if you don't have money to just burn. You know, they always say, don't spend money on ads that you're not comfortable with putting in a knapsack, lighting it on fire and throwing it in the street, right? And I've seen people light thousands of dollars on fire by simply doing this, right? Because what is a funnel, right? A funnel is basically designed if if you're like, I've got a cup of coffee, right? And if I'm like, you know what, I'm not really like enjoying this coffee, I'm going to save it for tomorrow. And I get a funnel and I pour it in to a jug, right? Gravity's going to pull that shit down, right? A sales funnel, as much as you've been told that a funnel is going to pull people through, it most of the time does not happen because we don't have gravity, right? But what we need is freaking volume, right? If you send 1,000 people to a landing page, only 20% of those people are going to opt in. That's industry standard. So already we started with 1,000 people and now we're down to 200 people to opt in, right? And they're going to give you their email address so that you can do email marketing. Okay. We're gonna put a pin in this right here because we're gonna talk about that here in a little bit. Okay. So now already we've got 200 people who have come through the funnel. So bloop, they've gone through the funnel, right? We've got 200 people. Out of the 200 people, industry standard, 40%. And by the way, most people in the beginning get less than 40%. So it's pretty bad. So that means 40% of 200, that's 80 people. And guys, I'm not talking about 80 people watching your webinar. We're talking 80 people just clicking play on the webinar. So already we've gone from 1,000 people hitting this page to 80 people clicking play, which only 10% of them are going to actually make it to the end to see your offer. 10%. That is 8 people will see your offer at the end of that. You guys still with me here? Everyone's okay, cool. I love whenever you guys go, yeah. Okay. So Victor's one of my Rockstar students, by the way. I totally reach out if you need help executing this because he's one of my Rockstar students. But Victor, I want to see your head go yes or no. How much are we paying per click? And we're talking about very basic niche, right? $2 a click if they're lucky. Because I've seen $4 or $5 a click, $7 a click, and it depends on how broad your niche is, right? The tighter the niche, like if you're targeting chiropractors, you're going to pay probably $7 to $8 a click, just so you guys know. If you're targeting a very small niche, the cost per click is going to be high. But if you're paying, let's just be non-conservative, right? Let's say we're paying $2 a click. You have just spent $2,000 to send people through this funnel for 8 people to see your offer, not buy your offer. And if you're very lucky, 10%, which is less than 1, by the way, like of 8, right? 1 person might fill out your application. You still have to get that person to show up on a call and you still have to sell them. So this is why normal funnel math does not work in most people's favor. It doesn't. Like this is the hardest part, right? Because like even me, like I'm seeing a lot of the big experts, saying, Laurel, we're not seeing people showing up to, webinars anymore. I'm not seeing people show up, to challenges anymore. Because what are they doing? Because people don't have time anymore. Like people know what their time is worth. And you have to think about this too. Okay. Most people whenever they click on an ad, Facebook does this really shitty thing. When someone clicks on your ad, they send 8 of your competitors' ads at that person that you just worked so hard to get to click on your ad. So even if someone clicks on my ad, they're going to show 8 more ad experts that I guarantee you are probably better at pushing the buttons than I am. I'll just go ahead and say it. I'm not good at ads. It's this principle. Like, and if you guys, and that's what I'm trying to tell you guys, if you understand the principles behind what I'm teaching you guys in this program, you will win, because this system right here that I'm going to show you guys is fail proof. It legit is fail proof, but you have to do the work. And that's why most people can't make ads work for them. It's not because they have a shitty offer. It's not because of this. It's because they don't put in the time to make it work. Because guys, by the way, you can make a shitty offer convert if you're just consistent with it, right? So what have we learned so far? In order to make this funnel work, we have to push volume. That means a shit ton of people through the funnel in order to get them to the end. Now, again, what does it all depend on too? Our ability to have sales calls and be able to close the sale, right? Everyone understand that? Like, this is why things don't work, okay? Now, put a pin on the emails and put a pin on the sales call, okay? We're going to put a pin in that. What well, first I'm going to take a sip of coffee because, okay. One of the things that, if you guys are new here, you're gonna learn that I'm a very visual person. If you have my book, you've probably, here's a copy right here. If you have my book, you probably notice I love drawing diagrams. I'm a very visual person. You know, some of my Lean on Laurel students will tell you, if they come to me in Voxer or anything with a fucking spreadsheet, I'm like, can you draw it out? Because that just makes my fucking brain hurt. Like, so I am not a spreadsheet person. I do understand though that there are spreadsheets people. And by the way, I know Tara, I didn't see her come in, but Tara actually created a spreadsheet version of the content for my ecosystem. So thank you, Tara. I love how my students are just like, hey, Laurel learns things this way. And you guys are like diffusing the shit out of my stuff. And I really, really love the fact that you guys are doing that, because, and you know, and people are always like, Laurel, you know, I see people teaching your strategy all the time. I'm like, good. Like, I love that Victor has literally taken my strategy and made it his own, because more people need to learn this stuff, because more people win, right? I want everyone sitting in the room to win. So first thing that we've learned is volume, right? So here's how and why I built my ecosystem. Let me back this up a little bit. Here's a triangle, right? There's different levels of a triangle, okay? When you need to validate an offer, right? Like whenever I first started, right? I can't get used to that I'm using a camera here instead of here. So whenever I first started in, you know, my business, I still worked in television. So I still had a full-time job at the TV station, right? I obviously was not going to quit my job, even though a lot of people were like, go all in, right? No, that's stupid. So whenever I first started, someone had told me, long story short, hey, you can make money. Those ads that you're placing at CBS, you could actually do that for businesses and make money. I did not believe them. I was like, that's bullshit. People were saying that you can make like $10,000 a month, like doing ads for people. I'm like, that's such bullshit. $10,000 a month is a lot of money, especially back then, right? Even for someone in me working in TV, I'm like, I don't see that this could work. But I didn't have an offer, right? I had to prove my offer. I'm like, will people actually pay me for this? That's what validating an offer is. What do we have to do in order to validate an offer? We need to get it in. We need to get stuff in front of as many people as possible and have conversations, right? And so whenever you need to validate an offer, we need the most volume of people, okay? Pay attention here, because this is a nuance of my strategy that a lot of people miss, okay? When you need the most amount of volume of conversations, right? We cannot build this entire funnel, because when we need the most volume, we're putting a brick wall here, we're putting a brick wall here, we're putting a brick wall here, right? We want the least amount of friction to have the most volume. What is the least amount of friction that I can do in order to talk to someone? Talk to them, right? So many of you guys, if you need cash flow, you need the most volume of conversation. So why the hell are you going to go and build this big friction-ridden thing that's going to cost you thousands of dollars if and maybe if to get one conversation, if you're lucky, right? So what if we created a strategy that would get people to raise their hand for something free that we can have a conversation immediately? This is where the $5 ads live, okay? Just so you know, the higher we're going to go on this triangle, the higher the diminishing returns. You're going to have the highest returns right here at the bottom. And these are where the $5 strategies exist. People often think that my $5 ad strategies are to send traffic to a funnel. That is not what it's built to do. But we will talk about how this fits in, because another misconception that people have is they think that my ecosystem replaces a funnel. It does not replace a funnel, and I'm about to show you why that is, okay? So inside phase one, you will learn two strategies. One is a 3 to 5 minute video, and one is a 60-second Reels video or a static image post. In both of these strategies, we will offer a cheat sheet or some type of free resource that I like to call a value bomb, okay? Now, I'm not going to go into the whole value bomb strategy. I just did a value bomb workshop, by the way, that is now inside the program. There's also, as a matter of fact, if you go into the value bomb section, you're not only going to find the value bomb workshop, you're also going to find a GPT that will write your value bombs for you. You will also see a 5 or 6 page list of all of the most popular value bombs that I've written for my clients. So I've given you guys all of the extra, like all of the examples that you guys can possibly need, okay? Now follow me right here. I want to see everyone's eyes right here, okay? Because here's the thing that people miss. So the other day in Voxer, I had one of my Lean on Laurel students message me, and he says, Laurel, I'm paying $15 for a messenger conversation. I'm like, okay, cool. And he's like, well, no, I can pay $1 or $2 for an email address. I want you guys to understand that an email address and a messenger conversation are not the same thing. Because here's the thing. I know an email address will give you a dopamine hit. Oh, I'm running traffic to a landing page and people are giving me their email. I am winning. But here's the thing. If you don't know how to have a conversation, do you think an email sequence is going to work in your favor if you don't know how to talk to people? You can collect email addresses all day long and you will look and feel like you were winning. But if you do not know how to talk to your audience, you will not win. If you do not learn how to talk to your audience and close a conversation, it doesn't matter how highly qualified that lead is that comes through your funnel, you're not going to close them. Okay? So phase one is focused on this. You need practice, right? You need frequency, you need volume, you need to figure it out. If people are not asking you for a value bomb, what does that tell you? They don't want your thing, or they don't trust you enough to take your thing. I'll give you an example, right? Let's say Victor is sitting inside a coffee shop, right? Him and his wife are plugging away, and some bum comes in, torn shirt, dirty face, and he goes up to Victor and his wife and said, hey, I hear it's your anniversary. Here's a BMW. I would love to give it to you. You think Victor's going to take that BMW? No, why? Looks shady as shit, right? Like, why the fuck is this dude giving me a BMW, right? But if I walk in and I'm like, what's up? Hey, like, so I'm so glad I ran into you guys, right? Like, hey, I was just over there at the Honda place. By the way, guys, I drive a 2013 Honda Civic. I don't drive anything close to a BMW. Yeah, I still drive my 2013 Honda Civic. totally do. And so let's say I walk into that coffee shop and I'm like, Victor, hey, I know your kids aren't this old, Victor, but I'm going to use it for an example. I heard your daughter just got her driver's license. I'm about to go trade in my Honda 2013, but they only want to give me like $3,000 to it. You know what? You've paid me thousands of dollars over the last year. Here, the Honda Civic's yours. Your daughter can take it to college. Do you think that like Victor would be like, why the fuck is Laurel giving me her car? No, he'll be like, that makes total sense. That is what people are thinking whenever you're trying to give them a value bomb. Because remember, there's so many people who are just shilling just all kinds of shit. And until we build that know, like, and trust, they might not ask for a value bomb. But guess what? Guess what? You can still create an audience of people who are watching 25% of videos here and 95% of videos here, and use it to build an invisible list. I think a lot of people are forgetting about the invisible list. If I go back to those 2 Voxer conversations this morning, my 2 students are like, whoa, it took a lot of months, but that's what I'm trying to tell you guys. Like, this strategy compounds like crazy, but you have to give it the patience to be, or in order for it to compound. It took 2.5 years for my audience to compound like crazy, to where now I can put out an offer and sell like anything as long as it's good, right? So an invisible list, yep. I go into what the invisible list is inside the workshop, but I'm just gonna say this. The invisible list is when people watch content, and this is why I love video views. Like, I know a lot of you guys are like, well, can I just do static image ads and all of that? Yes, you can, but you're missing an important part of the strategy. An invisible list is created on platform by Facebook or Instagram or TikTok or YouTube, right? Of people who are watching your content. It does not require a pixel. Facebook is storing all of the people who are watching this content, and you can retarget them at any time, even without a pixel. You don't need a pixel, honestly, until you go to do a funnel. Like, I've got students who are running my entire ecosystem strategy without a pixel. How fun is that, right? That way you don't have to worry about all of this BS, like cookies and all of that stuff, right? I had a client where we were pushing hundreds of thousands of dollars through her funnel, and then the iOS happened, and she was freaking happy because we were running power content and all of her audience was stored within watching all that video content. So she didn't have to shut down her funnel like so many other people had to do during, the iOS update. So, right, this is when you need the most volume. But I'm gonna show you guys something that's really cool. If we go back here, right? I said we would revisit this a little bit, right? If we are here, we're looking at two very different sides, right? Here we're going for volume. Here we're going for friction. This is whenever you've got too much volume and you're pushing people through, right? Phase 1, we have the 3 to 5 minute videos that I call power content. Here I've got the 60-second Reels videos in the static image ads that promote the value bomb. Both of them promote value bombs, right? But the main goal of power content is to get the invisible list. The main goal here is to get conversations, right? So in phase 1, you want to do 2 things. You want to build your invisible list, but you also want to get conversations. But here's what's freaking cool, okay? If these are built for volume and just to get conversations, right? That same client, she was running a webinar strategy, and we were getting 1,000 leads plus every single week. She was spending about 10,000 a week to get 1,000, okay? Because we're spending about maybe 40,000 during her launch. And one of the things that we noticed, people weren't moving forward to her webinar. That's when most people are like, oh, her ads stopped working. No, her ads are still working. She's still getting the same amount of leads. It's her funnel that somehow stopped working, right? So I was like, if people aren't watching her webinar, what are they also not doing? If everyone stopped here, it's a big black hole. They're not hitting play on the webinar, meaning they're not finishing the webinar, meaning they're not seeing the offer, they're not applying, and they're not booking calls. So what did I just tell you guys about this? Fastest path to cash is what? Conversations. How can we just get someone in front of us to talk to them? So and this is where I want you guys to understand, and this is a concept that my mentor calls finding the most immediate constraint, right? Like, what is the one thing that if I solve one thing will make everything else better? We have to learn how to find the most immediate constraint. And this is why, not to toot my own horn, that I'm really good at what I do. It's because I'm trained to find the most immediate constraint. Most people would be like, oh, no calls are coming through. Laurel's ads must not be working. That's not true. No one's hitting play on her webinar. That has nothing to do with my ads, right? So this is the most immediate constraint. The most immediate constraint is no one is hitting play on that webinar, meaning no one is applying, no one is going to book a call. How do I solve this most immediate constraint? Well, what if I can put together a PDF version of her webinar? Because what do I know? People are still opting in for the information. They're just not hitting play. So the constraint is them watching the video. Cool. Let's give them another way to get the information. But most importantly, how could I intercept a conversation? Because I know if I have a conversation, I can push them to the back of the funnel. So what did I do? Right? I had her team create a PDF version of her webinar. I had her shoot a 60-second Reels video that gave away that PDF. So people were commenting. And then what we did was we put her VA, who books the triage calls, to intercept these conversations, and she pushed them to the application. See what you guys follow what I did? I placed this ad for $5 a day. For this particular client, we were pushing $40,000 worth of traffic. I want to say 177 or 176. I don't know. It was 170 something, right? 176 triage calls booked in a single weekend. It was maybe 3 days. $5 a day. We spent less than $45 to get 76 or 77 triage calls. Crazy. I have another client who runs a webinar funnel. We spend about $5,000 or $6,000. This one's even better. We have a client who's spending $5,000 or $6,000. Again, people stopped watching her webinar. This is going to be something that you're going to hear over and over again. People stopped watching my webinar. That's just what's happening right now. Is people aren't wanting. They're not doing challenges. They're just not. We booked with $6. She literally called me after a day and a half of running this $5 ad and said, Laurel, my assistant is overwhelmed. She just booked over 200 triage calls in a day and a half. We spent $6. Over 200. Right? Here's the thing, guys. It doesn't have to be a PDF. This is a value bomb. This is literally, I just turned her webinar into a value bomb. Everything you're doing, like, this program teaches you all of this stuff. But guys, do you see how, like, here it's to produce volume to validate an offer? Here it was used to plug a hole in the funnel. The VSL webinar or opt-in funnel is here on the triangle. So that was a big black hole, right? What is it? Another black hole right here, right? You're sending 1,000 people and only 200 people are opting in. Cool. Let's feed them the video, snackable versions of that webinar. Boom, power content can now be used to nurture people who didn't move forward in the funnel. Guys, you guys are asking questions that are literally inside the program. So just slow down, pay attention, and then go back. Because I guarantee you guys, if you pay attention right now, the training inside the $7 program is going to make so much more sense. Y'all remember how at the beginning of this call, I said y'all are trying to know what's 30 feet in front of you? There's a lot of that going on in the chat right now. So just all you need to see is 6 feet in front of you right now. That's it. And that's mainly why a lot of you guys are not getting the traction right now, is because you're trying to do too much, honestly. And for those of you guys who haven't been on a call, I'm very spicy and I'm very blunt, but I want us all to win, right? Everyone is here to win, right? We just need to see what's right in front of us right now. So remember, everything that you need to execute this is inside the program. I promise you. There's templates, there's scripts, there's examples, everything you need. Okay. So phase 1 focuses on getting volume. Phase 3 focuses on plugging the holes of the funnel. So that's why if you're already running a direct response funnel, the very first thing I have you to do is something that plugs this hole right here. It's called the hot 7. I know a lot of you guys are like, what's the hot 7? And you're not even in phase 1, right? You don't need to know what you don't need to know right now, right? Yep, a lot of you guys, but you know, I come from a place of love because I want all of you guys here to win. We're here to win. So that's why if you come in at phase 3, I have you guys work backwards. I have you do the hot 7 because by the way, if you're getting 2 to 3x ROAS, the hot 7 within a couple of days will push you to 8 to 10. I guarantee it. 8 to 10. If you follow the hot 7 structure, this will automatically be the biggest win that you could ever have in your business. And I know there's some people here. I know Victor, there's a hell of a lot of people who put that hot 7 in place. The first thing that when their clients come through the door, that is the biggest win that you can give them. So much data. I have a student who came into Lean on Laurel. He's spending $100,000 a month. I had him do the hot 7. He was booking calls for $10 and closing $5,000 sales on a $10 ad. It's crazy. But he had the volume, right? It all comes back to how much volume do you have? You have to understand volume before you can understand what phase are you in, right? So when you need the most volume, phase 1. Phase 2, when you're having way too many messenger conversations, right? Like if you're getting 100+ messenger conversations a week, what do you know? If you're getting 100+ messenger conversations a week, what do you think you guys will know? What would you have collected? Exactly. Victor, I know, see, this is what, yeah, exactly. A lot of you guys, yes, see, a lot of you guys understand my shit. I love it. Jen, Astriana, Tina, yes, Manuel. Yeah, you'll know exactly what your audience wants. Then we can add a little bit of friction, right? Because here, remember, we're going value bomb straight to conversation. Here, we can go power offer straight to an application. Because now we've had enough conversations, we can go power offer straight to application. Now, but what do we know about this? What did I tell you guys at the beginning? The higher up we go, the more diminishing returns we get. This is the $5 strategy. This is going to cost you $10 a day and probably $150 per call. You can get cheaper calls though, if you run the ecosystem, but alone, about $150 per call. See, we're just adding a little bit of friction. We didn't build an entire funnel. We're just going power offer, add straight to application. The only friction we're adding is instead of having a direct conversation with them, we're going to make them wait and get on our calendar. That's friction. Then once we're having 5 to 10 calls a day, what are we going to know? Everything we need to know in order to close sales at the end of the funnel. So then we can go in and add more friction, like a brick wall page, a webinar, and put everything. But this is only if and only when we're ready to add that much friction. And then guys, I hate to break it to you because low ticket offer funnels are at the very top. They're the lowest producing income. It's right here. This is built for liquidating this entire thing, like paying for your ad spend, not making a profit. A lot of people think that that's why I tell you guys, when people come in and they're like, I don't have cash flow and they want to do a low ticket offer, I'm like, understand this. This is why mid to high ticket. And honestly, I'll be completely honest. I know a lot of people say start with high ticket. I think starting with mid ticket is the key. The highest amount of cash flow that I got when my business needed it, and this was the very first thing that my mentor, Nick Peterson, put in place. I had a $2,000 offer, and I had an agency offer, and I had my 2,000 coaching offer, but my income was like this. My agency clients weren't paying me on time. My coaching was doing this because I was too busy fulfilling on my agency stuff. I wasn't promoting my coaching stuff. So my income was doing this. Nick literally was like, how many people you have in your audience? I'm like, oh man. I was like, I've got like probably like 4,000 or 5,000 people. And he's like, how many people are in your $7 program? Y'all are going to laugh. This is how long ago this was. I was like, I have about, I don't know, like 460. He's like, out of those 460, he's like, how many of them are turning into $2,000 clients? And I'm like, well, not many of them, because a lot of them don't have, like, they want payment and all of this stuff. Like, I'm having a blank. What do you like? They want to break up their payments, right? Payment plans. Thank you, Victor. See, that's why he's my rock star. That's why he's my rock star. Victor probably knows this presentation better than I do by now. But they all want like payment plans. And so Nick's like, people love your $7 offer. He's like, why not turn it into a $197 a month? He's like, you're letting them stay a year anyway, and then you're collecting an extra $400. So instead of collecting $2,000, I was collecting $2,400 at $197 a month. A lot of you guys are going to laugh. That was the very first Lean on Laurel. So, and there are still people in Lean on Laurel at the $197 a month price, because I don't believe in raising the price. Yeah. People right now who knew me back then, they're like, fuck, I should have gone in at the $197, because now it's $1,500 a month. But I do offer, if you stay in for 90 days, I give you a $3,000. Like if you pay $3K, you in for 3 months, and you don't have to pay $1,500 a month. But anyway, a lot of people are like, holy crap. But there's 6 or 7 people that are still in at $197 a month. But I tell you guys this because I do things that's a little bit different, and it's all by design. It's because, like, I'm all about looking at what's the most immediate constraint, how much volume do we have? And so that's why a lot of times when you guys ask me questions, I need you guys to understand this very main concept, because a lot of people don't understand whenever they want to launch a low ticket offer. And I'm saying, I don't think that's the best idea for you, because I'm basing it on 2 things. I'm basing it on 1, cash flow, and volume. Because most of you guys who are sitting in the room right now, if I had to guess, I would probably say most of you guys, your main constraint right now is cash flow. That you don't have enough cash flow because you don't have enough conversations, right? But anyway, we've covered a lot. Let's see. I'm going to allow you guys to unmute yourselves. And if we've got a couple minutes left, I can take some quick fire questions about the ecosystem. But let me know in chat, did this make sense today? Did something hit a little bit different today? I know some of you guys who are here for the first time, you're probably like, oh my God, I just got fire hose to the face. But I promise you, if you rewatch this and take notes and then go through phase 1, it's gonna all make sense. Victor.
Hey, so quick question on more so the conversations for live events. So I've been doing, I think you saw, I've been posting, I've been doing it every Friday locally here in Colorado Springs, literally just teaching this exact thing. And my question is, what I haven't actually figured out how to go from the offer of the event to conversations. I've run our own ads to that, but it's like sharing it to like register for that Facebook event. This might be a little bit more tactical. Is there just, can you point me in the right direction there? Like what are you doing to get people to either sign up for the event response on Facebook, or just going straight to conversation and then I'm enrolling?
It's the same thing. Like I haven't changed anything. Like I still prefer conversations.
Yeah.
Like for instance, like this weekend, some of you guys probably saw me do a post of me and Dr. Jeff Spencer, my performance coach. So Nick and I are running his funnel, and we wanted to send traffic to test everything. I didn't go to ads. I went and I was like, I'm just gonna get a whole bunch of conversations and send people the offer and see how they move through. I still prefer conversations over everything. Like guys, I still to this day have 100+ conversations every single week. Like I have not even, like, if you guys have noticed, I don't even have a funnel. Like I actually still don't have a funnel. I'm still like in kind of volume if you really think about it. But that's what I do. That, like, whenever I was doing live events in Phoenix, like doing my live, I was still going. I didn't even have the reels because reels didn't even exist back then. This is how old this is, right? Reels, there were no Instagram reels. I was using the power content strategy with the value bomb because I was giving them a checklist on starting their first Facebook ad account. This was a checklist on how to do this. Like, it was the very basic stuff. And then I would say, hey, if you come to my like I live in on 7th Avenue in a high-rise building, there's a clubhouse. On Saturday, I'm going to have mimosas and Dunkin' Donut munchkins. It's free. Come and I will help you set up anything you need for your Facebook ads. I'll be showing you guys how to do your $5 ads, how to write your scripts. And that's how I was literally getting people to my building once a week once a month on Saturday. But it all started with conversations.
Yeah, so I meant more on because I was more promoting the like Facebook event of that particular live event versus, and people still message me all the time. I still have those conversations and I'm like, here, just show up. Here's literally
just run it as a campaign. Just run it as a Facebook.
Okay, cool.
That's what I do to my warm audience all the time.
All right, cool. Thanks.
Yeah, you can run events. Like I do that all the time, like Facebook events. Like if you make them with your business page, you can literally select a Facebook event as the optimization in Facebook Ads Manager.
That's probably why I made it on my personal side. That's probably where I was just like, I can't get, that's what I was asking, like that tactical. I couldn't get it to promote. And I was like, how the hell am I? That was why. Okay.
Yep. You have to make it on, you have to make the event on your business page. And there's a lot of benefits to that too, is because you can actually retarget the people who engage with that event, whether they go or not.
Yeah. Cool thing. I think it was just that piece. I did it on my personal instead of business. I was just like, what is not working here? Gotcha.
Yeah, no worries. Dan Johnson.
Hey, Laurel.
Hey.
I have been spying on the Laurel ads group now for probably 6 to 8 months doing other things. And I'm in probably, I don't know, 40 ads and funnels and whatever groups. And yours is the only one I have people consistently going, oh my God, this worked amazing. Oh my God, this is the greatest thing ever. So glad to be here.
Well, thank you.
So I think my question is, how do you know when your offer is valid? Because I've been running, I have coaching packages. They're all high ticket offers. I've been running like 3 different ones for about 6 months, not running ads, but having conversations in like Facebook groups and with people and selling them. But I don't know, it does feel a little bit like the value bombs I'm creating are taking a step backwards from a power offer with it, but I don't know, when is it considered valid? When you've run it through ads and okay, now you've got the validation, or do you validate it other ways? When is it considered valid?
So in phase 2, I talk about offer validation because I think a lot of people have this misconception. Actually, I'll use a perfect example. I know, so I have a lot of people who will come to me and they've been speakers for years. They've spoke on some of the biggest stages and they've sold millions of dollars from stage. They'll come to me and they'll be like, well, I have a validated offer. I'm like, but have you ever ran it with ads? And they're like, no, but I've sold it to me. I'm like, selling it from an event is a complete different because you're borrowing authority from whoever put on the event, right? People are there. And so it's very different. And this is the same conversation I have with people who have a huge organic audience. They're the same. Hey, I've sold millions of dollars through organic. It's different, right? When you're building an audience. And so true validation, in my definition of where this phase 2 fits in right here, is if you can take them from a cold ad to a conversation, whether that's a phone call or a messenger, and you're able to sell them, that is validating an offer to cold traffic. Because that's important to know, right? Because like I do see this all the time, people, and they get really mad at me. They're like, well, the ads aren't working. And I'm like, you've only validated your offer to your warm audience, or you borrowed someone else's audience. You can't look at it the same way. Great question. That's such a good question.
Laurel.
Yeah.
I have a question about power offers.
Yeah, so if you put your hand up, you can
Sorry,
get
no.
in line with everyone else who's got their hand up.
Okay.
No worries, no worries. If you
What is
hit,
that?
yep, if you hit the little reaction button at the bottom and then put your hand up. I honestly, truth be told, I just found that out about that about a month ago. I didn't even know how to raise a hand on a Zoom call. So if you go to reaction and then it'll say, I don't know, is it reaction? I don't know. I don't even know. Amanda and see, I was gonna say her guy friend. I forgot to look for the chat with his name.
Yeah, Laurel is I just wanted to have a quick question here. I'm currently in phase 1, still validating the offer.
Mhm.
Now I have people raising their hand for the value bombs.
Mhm.
Now we engage the field here and there. I know you like that term. You can talk
Yes.
about that. And after sending them the value bomb, I asked them to get back to me within the 24-hour period. It's a
Mhm.
meditation to help them reduce stress.
Mhm.
Now, I asked them to, if they can get back to me within the next 24 hours, we can identify their core problem to see what is causing the stress in a deeper level.
Mhm.
Now, after that, they just don't get back to me. And my question is, should I follow up with them, or are they disqualified as my ideal client?
No, I follow up with people I follow up with them several times. It just depends on, and this is where being clear on the benefit of them going and doing the meditation and like letting them see, like, remember how we were saying 6 feet ahead of them? Like, what is the thing, like, what should they expect after doing it? And if they experience this, you know, it's an easy fix, just come back. Like, are you doing a good job of like laying out, hey, if you go do this meditation, one of two things are going to happen. It's either this is going to happen or this is going to happen. If this happens, this is actually good. Come back to me because I've got something that'll help you do X, Y, Z. But if this happens, we might have something to work on, but guess what? Like, I literally within 15 minutes can help you get over that X, Y, Z. So you see how like I'm literally just like laying out, like, if you do this, one or two things, like I'm just literally just letting them know, hey, because what is that doing? It's subtle, but it's like, oh man, Laurel said this would happen and it did. What else does what kind of other sorcery does she have, right? But it's always just about like lighting the pathway and like letting people know, like, either this will happen or this will happen. And I'm glad that you asked this question because I'll circle back to what Dan just asked, right? Like offer validation. Now, if you feel like, and you have the budget to do so, you can add in phase 2 while you're still doing phase 1. If you have a budget, like if you, like we call it the power offer validation test, if you have the budget, you can accelerate the pathway if you can write an offer. Most of you guys need the volume because you don't know what type of offer to write. It's an expensive experiment, I'm not going to lie, but you can do the power offer validation test or the low ticket offer validation test while you're still in phase 1 to get some faster data. So I just want everyone, because I think a lot of people think, oh, I can't do phase 2 until I've like gotten, you can, just know it's going to cost you at least $10 a day to run this offer validation test. And you want to run it to $150 until you're turning it off. So just know that it's a little bit more expensive, but you can run them simultaneously to get, and that's what the Discovery Call Accelerator is. You know how I was talking about that at the beginning. The Discovery Call Accelerator strategy is actually a power offer validation test with an ecosystem ran around it, which most of my clients don't even get to the funnel because they love just running power offer straight to ad and then building the ecosystem around that, because under $1,000 a month, you can have $50,000, $60,000 months with just that without a funnel because you like volume.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah, you're very welcome. Mike.
All right. Couple questions in regards to I'm just getting started and I'm in the phase 1 and I'm a brick and mortar business. So working on the gap, expectations, the story, and I've made a spreadsheet. I'm a spreadsheet guy on what the some ideas for each of those. And next step for me is creating videos. And that's kind of where like the fear sets in and what kind of video, how do I have a hook, those sorts of things. And now here's where I'm kind of spinning and I'm a little lost in terms of what my steps are to start making these videos. Is there a section where you can help like with that creative cultivation, or is it like I'm like I have these ideas and what do I do to actually start creating these videos in terms of just turning on my camera and just talking? And I've started to do that, and I guess maybe it's just going through that process of enough time, but is that the recommendation? Just pick up a camera and start putting together just little blurbs of me talking for like 30 to 60 seconds?
So remember, it's the three things, right? One video talks about the gap that you solve. One of them talks about your brand story. And then the other one, right? And so like literally just turn on, and this is why sometimes I hate giving people, because it's a double-edged sword, right? Because at first, whenever I launched the 7 program, I didn't have like the templates. I just had a framework, because I feel like some of you guys get crippled by templates because you're trying to fit a square peg into a circle and it just doesn't work, right? And so that's why I want you guys to just get comfortable with turning on the camera and talking about like, what is it like, for instance, like what's your business?
I'm an acupuncturist.
Okay. So, oh yeah, you're in acupuncture. So when you're thinking about the gap, right? Because I remember you're the one that was on the Ask Laurel where I was like, you've got two audiences, right? One, you've got people who know they want acupuncture, but they're shopping around for different acupuncturists. And then there's two, the people who are into Western medicine, and Western medicine isn't working out. I have to convince them that acupuncture is the answer, right?
Yep, and it's usually the number two.
Mhm.
Yep. And my gap are personal relationships between being just a number, Eastern versus Western medicine, root cause versus the branch, sports medicine, acupuncture versus other styles, like
So what
cash
is the
pay
big-
versus insurance.
What are the biggest objections that people have whenever when you're having a conversation with someone who's done Western medicine? What is the biggest objection that they have to trying acupuncture?
A lot of it, they don't understand it is one thing. The needles are another thing.
Yeah, see, Chris says, yeah, I'm afraid of having that many needles in me. Yeah. Like
Yep.
I would literally do a video. So I have a student in Lean on Laurel, Dr. Jerry. I think I talked about her during the example that I was showing you, is like her and her wife own a chiropractor office in Texas. And one of the biggest phobias is people are scared to get their neck cracked. And it's actually, they call it crackophobia at their office. And she actually did a video that says, look, all chiropractic is not about cracking backs. As a matter of fact, we don't even crack a single bone if you come into our clinic, and here's why. Because we use tools, which is actually more effective than, and she just educates people on why tools are more effective for chiropractic than cracking people's backs. And that is their most high performing ad that gets most people in the door. But it's something that's so simple. Like she's just meeting the people where they're at. Whereas, okay, what are all the fears people have? Like Chris just said it, I'm afraid of having that many needles in me. I would literally start the video at saying, you know, most people are afraid of getting acupuncture because they think that it's only about having a bunch of needles in it, but it's actually this. And here's why it could actually work better than most Western medicine approaches. And then you just talk.
Yeah. I guess what I need to figure out is it is the needles. So you can't tell people that there's not needles and there's no feeling, because there truly is. And that's part of the process. So that's something
you have to explain why
Mhm.
just this little, like, it's not that painful. And
Yeah.
two, it's like, you know, most people, you know, you could say something like 90% of people who come through my door are terrified of having so many needles when it comes to acupuncture. But I'm going to roll a clip on a client who literally like rejected the idea of acupuncture for so long. And here's what happened after just one session, and then have him talk about it and roll it. That would be like an amazing power content video.
Cool.
Yep.
Awesome.
Yeah, brick and mortar, I will pick on brick and mortar all day long because you guys have it so easy. You could run a $5 ad and like dominate your market with a simple $5 ad. It's crazy.
Cool.
Yep. Dennis.
Hi, Laurel, and hi, everyone. This is my first time here. Glad to
Welcome.
be here. Thank you so much. So I've seen the overview of the ecosystem. I'm just in the phase 1.
Okay.
So I want to get the foundations right before starting anything. I have an Instagram account with around 50K followers, but that's all musicians. That's my first course business I started a few years ago, and the new one is for entrepreneurs, and that's a different audience. So I've seen in the ecosystem, in a few steps further, I will create some content and boost them from my page. So in this situation, would you suggest me starting a new
No.
account from zero?
No, and I'll tell you why. Because you could actually leverage that as authority, right? Because you built a very successful business already. You're an entrepreneur and you built this huge following. Think about Alex Hormozy. All of his followers were people who were in the gym space.
Yeah.
And he used that authority to build the business that he has today. And so no, I don't think you should start a page at all, because if you tell your story in the right way, people are going to understand why you had that following before, and they're actually going to trust you more because they're like, wow, he obviously had a successful business. He's got over 50,000 followers of people who bought his last product.
Yeah, sounds great. So the reason I thought this, because when I create that content in my page, the current audience will not react to that, and it would drop the reach. So what do you think about that?
You could actually make an audience and you could actually exclude musicians.
Oh, okay.
You can literally like put together like a warm traffic and then exclude musicians and the interest. There's ways that you can get around it. I wouldn't worry about it too much, because the more that you market, the more you're going to get more people who are more entrepreneurs, and who knows, like, I'm a musician. A lot of entrepreneurs are actually musicians. And so you might actually have a lot of more overlap than you think.
Yeah. Yeah, sounds great. Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. Jen.
Hi. Really quick question. I've been running the ecosystem for about 90 days, well, maybe 60 days. And when I'm boosting my 3 posts a week, a lot of times they're videos, sometimes they're just regular posts, but in my mind, I'm like, doesn't it make more sense to run it as an awareness campaign so that it reaches my warm stack? Like it reaches everybody in my warm stack, as opposed to running it as like a video views campaign when I'm retargeting. Does that make sense?
Yep, 100%. You can do that. I'll do that with like my static image posts. I like to run them as engagement, because typically I like to like get more like engagement on them, but you absolutely can run them as awareness campaigns, as long as you're getting people staying in front of people. Like right now, I don't know if how many of you guys have seen my book ads for Amazon, right? Because it's a link to go to Amazon. That's an awareness an awareness campaign. It's just reach. And we get like 5 or 6 sales a day and it's running for like $1 a day on a reach campaign.
Okay, cool. That's it. Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely. But I like where your mind was at, like, because like, see, she wasn't like, because I thought she was going to ask me, well, wouldn't it make sense for me to have like a CTA or something like, but I like where her mind was at. Like, how, like, what if I would just run this as an awareness campaign? Absolutely. I love that, because one of the things that you guys are going to notice, once you run the ecosystem long term, you're going to start to see that the buttons that you push matter less and less and less, because because when people know, like, and trust you, it doesn't matter what type of campaign it is, right? They're gonna take action. A good offer is a good offer. A good piece of content's a good piece of content. It's gonna matter less about those buttons. Chris.
Hey, Laurel. Thank you for having me on here. I want to apologize for getting out the class a little bit earlier. We had a power surge, so now I'm on my laptop. But
oh gosh.
Yeah. So one of the issues that I'm currently having is that I had to take a break from running my power content and a lot of my content marketing, because I was working with clients and I was also doing a lot of in-person sales. So I was the good thing is that I was able to validate my offer, and I have my target audience using my system and everything that I want to work with. So my issue is that I feel like I'm solving too big of like their situation versus a problem. I've been using the value bomb generator, but like I always just have a hard time just going back to the whole root of the situation of, you know, unqualified leads or having multiple problems as their symptoms, because the things that they came to me and they always talk about, and I've been able to help them solve, is I was able to get 28 new clients for the holistic practitioner I've been working with, or using organic and word of mouth and our booking system. But she also loves, and tells her other practitioners about how good our booking system is, that they can take prepaid payments before their appointments and they can qualify. So I'm having a hard time kind of just putting that into like an offer or a power offer, or just creating this value bombs based off of that, because
What is it?
now
What is it that what's the big promise? Like, what is the result that they're looking for?
they're just looking for like to pretty much take their business off the ground, because a lot of them are newer practitioners who are transitioning from like
But define that. Okay, we'll actually run through this because I think this will be helpful. You see how he said get their business off the ground. That is very vague. What to your client, what does get their business off the ground? Define that for them.
I believe posting on, for them, what they said is when they post something online, they want to actually have people just book with them and be able to actually have clients. Like someone said they want to have.
They need clients. So the constraint is they need clients.
Yeah, they want to have 60 to 70 clients like per month eventually.
Okay,
overall.
so 60, okay, so goal, right? 60 or 70, let me write this up. 60 or 70 clients. How many are they getting right now?
They're only getting like 3 to 4. Or some of them even 0. The one I'm working with right now is getting at least 10 to 12 per month.
Okay, let's start with there, 10 to 12 per month. How are they getting that?
They're doing it from word of mouth and social media on Instagram.
Okay. When you say social media, let's be more definitive. Like, are they doing 2-step posts? Are they doing email post? Like what kind of content are they doing?
They're just doing informational like value posts and telling them to go to the link in bio. Very basic stuff that they're doing.
Yeah. Have you thought about just setting up a since they're doing it that way, just setting up a 2-step messenger campaign for them and testing that, because that'll easily push more conversations, and then because then it becomes content, messenger, then application. You're just putting in the messenger conversation in the middle.
Yeah.
Because
so yeah,
you could even deliver the application. You could even just deliver the application through the messenger flow.
Yeah, no, that's totally true. Instead of having them go to like a page and stuff like that and just create
What's their budget per month?
I'd say $1,000 to $2,000 per month on ad spend that they can do.
Yeah, so the math problem, right? The solvable problem, as I tell you guys, is figuring out. So if you have 1,000, we have 1,000 people, right? $1,000 a month to spend. We need to figure out what is the cost per messenger conversation. So whenever they do it organically, how many do you have the metrics that say if I do one post, this many people go and check the link in the bio?
Yeah, she only gets like about like 1 or 2 comments, but barely any messenger conversations, to be honest.
Yeah, so let's reverse engineer this, right? So this is why I freaking love math. I'm just gonna clear off this little part right here. So if you have 1,000 conversations, right? You have $1,000 to spend. 60 to 70, is this booked appointments is the goal?
Yeah, booked appointments.
Okay, so we need to get 8 to 10% of messenger conversations to book a call. That's what we're looking at, 8 to 10%. So then you need to figure out how many messenger conversations do we need in order to get what's 8 to, that would be probably need like 600 conversations, right? And so you need 600 messenger conversations in order to get 10. Yeah, that would be 60 or 70, that's percent. So $1,000 divided by 600 is $1 something per messenger conversation. So now you have math. Do you guys see how I just like reverse engineered? Like this is the math, this is the work. But this is also, I forgot who it was, asked me, well, how do you set expectations for your agency clients? I'm like, I do this with them on the phone, because then it's either like, I don't think your budget's realistic, or I think you might have to come back with me with a more realistic, like I would probably say this is probably 60 or 70 booked with $1,000 is probably not realistic. I would probably say, hey, you're already getting 10 to 12. Would you be happy if we spent $1,000 and we doubled and got 20 to 24 booked calls in the first month to test it. Would you be happy with that? If they said no, then you would know, like, fuck, these people are going to be a nightmare to work with. But you get how, like, this is how you back clients down into a more realistic. But do you guys also see, for those of you guys who are in phase one, how you can literally back into the numbers to know exactly what you need to hit for your messenger conversations too?
Yeah. No, that was really helpful. So you're saying, just to create, for me on my instance, create the value bomb around like the issues around their appointments and stuff like that, like reducing no-shows, like my like follow-up sequence and stuff like that.
Like if you have a follow-up sequence, like one of my best videos that gets people into Lean on Laurel, the value bomb is this pre-call funnel gets almost 100% of people to show up to a call. That's the value bomb. And then, like, once we have a messenger conversation and I go through the numbers, I'm like, dude, if we can improve your VSL like watch rate, look how much more people will actually book a call. And but you see how it all starts with a value bomb, and then like getting that conversation going, asking for numbers, and then bada bing, bada boom, they're in Lean on Laurel because I've showed them what the numbers could look like if we did something about this other problem.
Cool. No, that makes perfect sense. Yeah, I'm going to continue to run the power content because I don't have holistic practitioners in my audience whatsoever, even besides like my 3 clients that I have. They're my warm audience. So I'm definitely going to get to work and just launch some power content. That was really helpful. I appreciate it, Laura.
Yeah, 100%. And, you know, one of the things that you guys are going to learn, the power content is kind of like the thing that you run on the side, and it builds that invisible list, right? The direct response stuff, right? That's built to get those 2 to 3% of people who are ready to buy right now. You just have to go through a lot of conversations to get to those people. But what's sitting over here with the power content is it starts this really slow conveyor belt, right? Ready to buy is over here. The power content for a while goes really slow, the conveyor belt, right? But if you have enough patience, it'll go over here. And it'll consistently deliver you people ready to buy, but you have to run it long enough for that compounding effect to yeah, like Safrina says, it's like an on-ramp. I like to think of it as the conveyor belt, but it's slow at the beginning, right? Because you're trying to get people from here to here. And so it's slow, but a lot of people don't leave the time to let it run for this distance. They want it to happen really, really fast. Yeah, Barack.
Okay, so I'm pretty new. This is my first call, actually.
Well, welcome. Happy to have you.
Yeah, thank you. And I was a little bit confused about power content, basically. So I watched everything up to where I'm at. Actually, a lot more than what you have in the program. But what I understand from power content, what I understood initially, it's that it's more like value to get the pipeline equity. So I got like my 15, breakdowns and stuff like that. And I said, okay, well, I have to speak about those. But then I don't have a value bomb yet. So I was thinking about doing some phantom bombs. Watch the webinar you did with Dan Henry about that. But my confusion was on the power content, you have a CTA to basically to get people to speak with you about the value bomb. I don't have the value bomb. This is a phantom bomb. So I thought of it as at the beginning, maybe my understanding is incorrect, that you have the power content creating this invisible list and getting a lot of value to your audience. And then you have the conversion multipliers, which are actually this is like the value, and this is the sales. And you have like 75% here and 25% here. But then I saw that the CTA, well, that's selling as well. So that's, I got a little bit.
It's not selling, it's adding value. I've not asked for any sale in my entire value bomb. In my entire value bomb career, I've never asked for a sale.
No, I understand. Maybe I'm phrasing it wrong, but I took it from either your book or your videos that it's basically I'm offering them something. I'm offering them something, and it's borderline selling. I know it's not selling. It's not costing anything or something like that, but it's still. And anyway,
I don't understand how helping equals selling. I don't get that connection, but I get I hear what you're saying.
my
I
conclusion is
understand.
about power content and inclusion of the value bomb in the power content when I don't have a validated value bomb.
It's no different. It's no different than using it for a conversion multiplier. Remember, and this is everyone write this down right now. 90% of the time when people ask for a value bomb, that is not the thing that will move them forward. It will always be something else. The whole point of value bombs are to intercept a conversation, not to actually give them the value bomb they're asking for. And that is from data. Like it's probably over 90% of the people when they ask me for a value bomb, that is not their most immediate constraint. And so, but here's the thing, right? Because of this strategy, I have a Loom account that's probably worth thousands of dollars right now because like all my value bomb videos, like anytime I'm having a messenger conversation, I am building a value bomb from scratch in a Loom video almost every single time because I am personalizing everything. And you might say, well, Laurel, that takes up a lot of time. It does, but it works really well.
So I guess it all starts with the fact that I'm not sure exactly which value bombs will be.
That's part of the have you gone through the value bomb training? That's why you do that diagnostic, because if you don't know what they need at that moment in time, you can't give them a value bomb. Like you have to figure out what is it that's going to help them. You know, I've got people that ask for value bombs all the time. Like I had some people that were asking me for a messenger, my messenger SOP, which by the way is one of my top performing value bombs. And if I'm having a conversation and they're only getting 1 to 2 messages a week, will me giving them that messenger SOP help them at all? No, they'll just collect freebies, right? But what if I said, hey, what if I could show you a post on your page right now? Send me the link to your Instagram, right? And I turn one of their posts on Instagram. I say, hey, I put their post on a Google Doc and I say, look, if you take this post and you just add these 2 sentences to this post, and then you go here in Ads Manager and you put $5 on this, this should generate some conversations. If it doesn't, come back to me. If it does, come back and I'll give you this SOP. What is that? What have I just done there? I've helped them solve that most immediate constraint, but we have to get really good at being able to identify and helping people with their most immediate constraint. A lot of you guys are just in a hurry to give them the damn value bomb. And it's like most of the time it's not being helpful. It's just being overwhelming.
Yes, I work with dentists. So I do the work for them. They don't want to learn how to do it.
Even better. That's even better.
My problem is, I mean, when you are showing someone, hey, this is how I do this and this, it makes sense. But until now, what I was speaking about is more like the benefits. Like for example, let's say.
So let's just back into this, right? So what do dentists want from you?
Eventually, they want patients. They want
eventually they want patients. What do you mean eventually? They probably want patients, right now.
I got it. But what I'm saying that there are different ways to go about that.
Okay, so what is it that what's the problem that you're solving? Are they not like how are they getting patients right now?
Different ways. I mean, depends on the levels. It can be by referrals, it can be by ads. Very popular now is to get leads and then qualify them and then connect them to the dentist. My method and what I'm doing different is I'm building their authority and then positioning them a lot better and doing it on multi-platforms. So it's both the SEO and the website and the reputation and getting ads, so it's one piece of the puzzle, but not everything. So my approach is that, okay, it needs to be more holistic. But I know that they're not interested in learning how to do that because they don't have the time for that.
They don't have to learn. They don't have to learn how to do that. I think you just have to figure out what is it that they want? What is the problem that you're actually solving for them? Because I will say this, most dentists I know have no desire to build their brand and to do all this other stuff. So are you leading with the wrong offer?
Actually, they are very interested in building their brand, they will not voice it as per se. They will say they don't care, but they are very, the ego is actually something that they do care about. Okay. And the point I'm making to them is that when they are positioned better, they can attract higher value cases.
So you
So-
could literally use you could literally use almost the exact same framework, right? That I literally just worked out with, with Chris, like talking about like value bombs. Because at the end of the day, if any dentist is interested in building a brand, they've probably already tried it before. They probably already have a great social media presence, right? And you could literally say, here is a 10-minute hack that your office worker could actually do for you that will push X percentage of traffic to your dental office. And it only takes, 10 minutes a day to execute or something like that, and can be easily done by your office manager. Want to see, right? And so like, it's just one of those things. It's like, like you have to think in their mind, right? Like, because it's not that they want to do it, but something that they can hand off to their office manager, that they can hand off to someone else, right?
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I mean, one thing I was trying to validate, I kind of like wanted to create I recorded even like a conversion multiplier, but then I didn't know how to plug it to the power content. That's where I got my.
Well, you don't plug it to they're two separate things.
That's what I thought originally, but then I saw one of your Google Docs that is talking about CTA of value bomb. And
so I think a lot of you guys think a conversion multiplier is a value bomb. It is not. It is a 60-second Reels video that promotes a value bomb.
No, I got it. So I understand the difference. But in any case, what I wanted to validate is like like a checklist of how I evaluate if your website is good or not. Because a lot of dentists have a website, sometimes it's the worst website ever. They don't know if it's good or not. So I have a checklist. I can send it to you. I'm working on creating one.
I would do one step ahead as a value bomb. I would be like, look, what if I could tell you in a simple 5-minute Loom video, 3 changes to your website that will push more traffic? Interested?
Nice.
They don't want a checklist. They want a quick audit or something like that. And it wouldn't take a lot of your time. And it's actually adding value, because then you could actually work in your sell as you're doing the Loom video.
And that's what I was intending to do on the Messenger conversation. I don't have the checklist, but I can do something for you personally. Meanwhile, while the checklist is being built, do you want me to do that for you?
I would literally just go straight to that.
Okay, I can try that.
Yeah. Yeah. Want more appointments booked on your website? Would you mind if I shot a 5-minute, what if I shot a 5-minute Loom video showing you 3 things that you can change in the next 24 hours to push 20% more traffic this week?
Okay, I can try that.
I wouldn't say traffic. I wouldn't say traffic though, because dentists don't use that terminology, but make it in layman's terms.
It's
100%.
a lower step. So on the power content itself, I will not even mention that because it's not validated yet. Just to build
Are you
the
talking about the power content or the power offer?
content.
Well, power content, you don't need anything validated for that. It's just value.
That's, I was just a little bit confused on the language on something. I can send you by messenger exactly what point confused me maybe on that, because I don't know if I'm the only one running into that confusion.
In my book, you got my book? If you like power content, like it.
I actually checked it yesterday as well.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Yeah,
And
like that. It'll describe.
checked.
It'll literally go over what power content is, the difference between power content, conversion multipliers, and all that fun stuff.
And there is a framework there, and part of the framework is the CTA to get conversations, and that's, I was like, okay, well, that's similar to what I saw on the Google Doc. But anyway, that was my
Yeah, I have a CTA, and I explain why there's a CTA in the power content in the book, and I explain it inside in the training. So I don't want to go into detail.
I'll review that. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're very welcome.
Okay.
Yep. And by the way, like this is not like you guys have to remember, I've been doing marketing for 22 years now. There's 22 years of principles and stuff in here. And so like, if we have to like go over it and over it and over it, that's just literally, I didn't learn this stuff in a day either, right? So.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you're very welcome. We're happy to have you. Salome,
Hey Laurel, how are you?
I'm doing all right.
Awesome. So I know you probably have covered this millions of times, but I think I just need a reminder. I have a really, really good power content that's been running since November.
I
So
actually answered your question in the Ask Laurel thread.
yeah. No, that wasn't my question. I have some conversion multipliers that are like my day-to-day post reels, but they have a call to action for a free ebook or things like that I'm running as my conversion multipliers, but they're not getting that messenger conversation that we're looking for. So
Mhm.
I was thinking maybe should I do like my power offer as my reel and then run it like that?
Well, that would be that would be phase 2, right? It depends.
Right.
If you need messenger conversations, it depends, right? Because a power offer is not built to get a conversation. I mean, you can run it as a messenger campaign, or you can run it as an application.
Yeah, I've always ran all my ads since being with you as
But
messenger.
just remember,
'cause-
power offers are phase 2. So it's going to do
Yes.
something completely different than a conversion multiplier.
Okay, so then what could I switch in terms of my conversion multipliers, I guess, to get more conversations?
Got to find a problem the audience want. Like, guys, this is the work. Like,
Okay.
like I will say this, I have over 300 value
Yeah.
bombs, right? How many have you tested?
30, 40.
And how many
Yeah.
have there been any that generated any conversations?
Yeah, but not like the power content does. Like the power content, I have consistent
That's
5,
awesome.
10
So your
comments a
power
day.
content is generating conversations?
Yes,
Are you using the same value bombs in your conversion multipliers as your power content?
I am.
Crazy. So this is an important question, right? This is why I like to ask, because I'm glad she asked this, because watch this. Are the power content videos delivering enough messenger conversations to where, like, do we even need the conversion multipliers?
I guess not. I mean, right now, yes, because I only have one good power content. I haven't, I create them weekly,
Right.
but 2 of them I don't do as good as that one. So yes, right now, but I guess if I dial down and I got 3 good ones, no.
Yeah, like if you're in phase 2, right? The only difference between phase 1 and phase 2 is we'll replace that conversion multiplier with a power offer, and we move the conversion multiplier to middle of funnel.
Mhm.
So you could test that. Like, you could literally test
Okay.
power offer straight to messenger or power offer straight to application.
Okay, that's what I was wondering. Should I test something different?
Well, it depends. Do you have a good power offer?
I do have a good power offer.
Then what? Then run the heck out of the power offer, and then you
Okay.
can use the conversion multiplier to plug the hole, right? Because think about this: power offer to application, right? Because then you can use the conversion multiplier for everyone who's hit your application page and not move forward. You can hit them with that conversion multiplier for a messenger conversation.
True. Okay, perfect. You answered my question. Thank you.
It's very fluid, guys. That's why, like, a lot of people are like, why does this ecosystem video say this and this ecosystem video? It's because it's so fluid, dependent on volume, right, and cash flow. Like, we have to be able to move things around. What were you
Yeah,
gonna say,
no.
Salome?
No, this makes total sense. You just blew another lighting bulb, so it's good.
No, that's good, and that's why we have to have these calls, because like, we have to. Some of you guys need conversion multipliers over here. Some of you guys need them over here. Some of you guys don't even need them at all, right? Because, like, if Salome, like, listen up, right? If Salome would have told me, Laurel, I am already getting 100 messenger conversations from my power content. That's actually a double whammy, right? That's freaking amazing, right? Because she's building her invisible list and getting conversations from her power content. Holy crap. I'd be like, you don't need the conversion multipliers. Like if they're getting enough messenger conversations through power content, then she could just run her power offer straight to application, run a little hot 7 to retarget the people who are hitting her application and be done, right? Some of the people, that's what their ecosystem looks like. They don't even run conversion multipliers because they have enough volume of phone calls because their power offer to application brings in the volume. And so that's also an important thing, is like knowing, again, it all goes back to how much volume do we need? Because I've got people who are running, you know, hundreds of thousands of dollars through a funnel. They're like, I don't have the manpower to sit and do messenger conversations. I'm like, cool, if you're fine with just getting 8 to 10% of ROAS, which by the way is still freaking phenomenal, a lot of people are okay with that because they don't want to put the time in. You're still gonna get a return whether you have the conversion multipliers or not. Manual.
Hey, Laurel, thanks for staying and answering those questions. So the question I have is about the 15 pieces of content exercise.
Mhm.
So my suboptimal problem at this stage is how many conversations I need to have in order to solve like, one offer, because I still haven't did that yet. And it's a done for you service for copywriting. And my question is, do I still focus on the how when doing this piece of content? Like,
Yeah.
I do the 3 buckets,
100%. 100%. Like people like want to make sure that you know what you're doing, right? I get more people, like I get people in my messenger every single day wanting me to do their ads. Why? Because they see that I know what the heck I'm talking about. Even though they don't want to do it themselves, they understand the how, and they more importantly understand that I know the how.
Okay, yeah, I had that doubt. I did it, assuming that's how you did it, but still, right?
Yeah, no, good.
So,
That's good intuition. Let's see, we've got Rebecca, and then we're gonna end things with Miss Agel. Haven't seen you in a while, Miss Agel. Rebecca.
Thank you so much for staying around, and I'll try to be quick with my question. I'm brand new. I just started to get into the content in the last week. So 2 things.
So you're really new. We really fire hosed you today, huh?
I'm brand spanking new, but I have an ad that I've been running for quite a while. It's a funnel that stopped converting to a call. It still converts to my email list. It's a pretty low cost per lead. I'm able to convert people from my list to a live workshop. And from there into a sale, but it's not at the volume that I want. So I do think that I want to be doing the value bomb stuff. So my question for you is, am I right to start in phase 1 to just kind of, like how can I take advantage of the fact that I probably do have a pretty deep Facebook invisible audience?
Let's actually talk this out, because I think this is a good. I don't even have to erase my funnel here, right? Because you already have this, right? It doesn't matter. Like you have an ebook.
Yes.
Ebook funnel, right?
Yeah.
And what is the next step of the ebook funnel? You're converting them to a live workshop, right?
Either to a call or to a live workshop that I offer through my email list. The direct funnel is freebie and then call, but then I've inserted a workshop because that seems to ease conversion.
Yeah, no, let's talk about that. So what is your what's your opt-in rate so far?
Opt-in rate? I'm so sorry.
Yeah, no, that's okay. I'm gonna spotlight this for everyone too, so that they can follow, because this is, and we'll talk. So opt-in, how many people hit this page and how many percentage of people opt in?
I don't know the statistic. I know I'm paying like $3 a lead.
Okay. So that's super important, because it doesn't matter how much you're paying per lead, right? Because what matters is how many people are converting here. Because this is all just a big math problem. So like if you need to know how many people are hitting this page and what percentage of people are opting in, because then we can just do simple math and be like, oh, we can just push more volume through the funnel, or we need to plug holes in the funnel. There's a reason
to plug holes in the funnel. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if people are coming, because if people are coming in, think about this, they're opting in. There's a certain percentage of people who are going to app, and then there's a certain percentage of people who are going to convert to the live workshop, right? That's important to know. Like how many people that are coming in, what percentage are going straight to the app, what percentage of people are coming to the workshop, right? And then you also need to know what percentage of people are opting in. So these are very important numbers, because here's why. And it's funny, I just did a tweet about this. So many people don't know their value per lead, right? Like, what is the value per lead? So like, if you get 200 leads through this funnel every single week, and you're making $10,000 a week, right? $10,000 divided by 200, then you can say, okay, cool. My value per lead is it $500. So then you're not freaking out when your cost per lead, because you want to pay 40% of your value per lead. So if your leads are $35, math works out, right? But a lot of people freak out at their cost per lead. But if you understand your value per lead, then all the rest of the numbers make sense, because then you can freaking dump as much money into this funnel as possible. And then you don't have to, quote, have a monthly budget, because you're making a shit ton of money on the back end. But that's why I want you guys to know, like, your numbers, because then we can figure out, okay, do we need to push more volume, or do we need to put more holes?
I feel like I'm back at square zero, just because this funnel really, it's older, and it's from like a year and a half ago, and it just stopped converting on every front. I just feel like you said, the market has changed, trust is lower, and I feel like I'm back at square zero. Like, and I've been seeing like the value bomb examples that you've been giving, which are very like numbers based, and I can help you do this one thing. And, you know, my guide that people were getting, my free guide, is how to overcome imposter syndrome. And so I think that even that term is tired, and I'm reworking it. And so I was trying to map what you were saying to situation versus a problem versus a specific problem. And one of the ones that I worked out was feeling unhappy and unfulfilled, right? That's the situation. It's way too broad for me to help with that.
Who's it for?
High achieving professional women.
Okay.
So they have a hard time kind of receiving the life they already have. They're unhappy despite all of their accomplishments. And so one of the problems is that they're just over functioning. They're doing too much. They're, you know, trying to meet all of their own needs, and they can't receive things from others. They're kind of miserable. And one of the problem within that, I think a specific problem that I could help solve is that they're not setting effective boundaries. And so I could have like a short boundary guide. The other thought I had hearing you talk was, I could ask you 3 questions and in 5 minutes change your life with a Loom. Like, I love the idea of just having a direct connection with somebody. And so I'm just playing with the best value bomb that I could come out with. And maybe the idea is just try something.
Yeah, go through, like, even minuscule, right? Like, have someone that's in my Lean on Laurel program, and he helps people with boundaries and business owners and stuff like that. And one of my favorite value bombs that he was giving away is, hey, if you want to confront your boss, here's how to de-escalate a situation. Here's a script that'll help you de-escalate the situation where you won't work weekends and your boss is going to be happy that you said no. Right. But you see how but that's still, like, personal development offers are some of the hardest to actually tangible. But you see how we were able to find a very distinct situation where, like, his boss was trying to get someone to work on the weekend. And he's like, here's a script that you could literally use that will not only de-escalate the situation, but you can actually, you know, your boss won't be mad at you. So those are the little, so when I say little problems, that's how minuscule we need to go.
Okay. So we can get more refined. So in the Ask Laurel thread, I will try to get my numbers for you and come up with a minuscule problem just to get your feedback on those things. Is that good?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I love nothing more, guys. Like, if you guys like have a funnel and you bring me numbers during the Ask Laurel thread, I will just be like foaming at the mouth, ready to help you solve that problem, because I love math. Like, that's one of the things, like, if y'all bring me data, I can like literally do math all day long. Math makes us money, right? But we have to know our numbers. We have to know our numbers, though.
And so you need the opt-in rate above all. Okay.
Opt-in, I want opt-in rate. I want people, how many of those people filled out an application in the past to book a call? How many of those, you know, booked like registered for the workshop? And then more importantly, how many of those applications turned into sales, and how many of those workshops turned into applications, and then how many of those applications turned into sales? Because we can track all the numbers throughout the entire funnel. We can easily fix funnels. That's that's the easy part is fixing the funnel. The hard part is just making sure that all you guys are tracking everything.
Thank you.
Yep. Yeah. So Nina just said high performance women burnout. I hate this term, but it's huge. And they all say it. Imposter syndrome, being seen as assertive, not aggressive, even if they do the same thing as men. Yeah. Like I think, and this is just my opinion. I see imposter syndrome, burnout, all of that. I glaze over that stuff. I've seen it so much. It means nothing to me anymore, even though I am at times the perfect client. Those are just terms that just make me like tune out, because me personally, this is my 2 cents. I don't know. Like, I know Nina says that it's not burnt. Like, I don't know. Like, that's just me. I like going after those very specific problems versus what, like, if you're burnt out, what are all the problems that are causing the burnout? If you have imposter syndrome, what are the situations that are causing that imposter syndrome, right? Like, you just got booked on a big, stage, and now you're among people who are doing so much better than you. Here's how to prepare for that. That to me, that would resonate more than just being like, are you suffering from imposter syndrome? Because what exactly does imposter syndrome like represent in my life right now? Because if you can do that, Jen, what does imposter syndrome represent for them in their life right now? That's where your content. Oh, Rebecca, sorry, Rebecca, that's the content right there. Miss Agel, she just walked away as soon as I was going to call on her. She's like, bye.
I'm here. I had my computer is dying, so I had to grab a charger.
No worries. She's like, oh my God, my computer died.
I know. I was like, of course now it's gonna die. Hi.
Yeah.
Okay. First, I have to say thanks, because like a year and a half ago, you had a messenger conversation with me, and I was like, oh my God, she's running her game on me. Let me learn. But then also, you told me to like that I was doing too much, and now I find my business is much cleaner. So thank you, because I was like, I didn't know what I was doing. Anyway. My question is, I'm working with one of your students now to help me with ads because I just don't have time. So now where I'm having,
they think you're awesome, by the way. Like they gave you props the other day. They were like, thank you so much for sending her. She is so awesome. I was like, yeah, Agel is awesome.
Oh, thank you. I work hard. Thank you. But now my question is, so I'm like compiling data because I want to put more money toward what we're doing because I think it's working. But I'm compiling data, and when I compiled the data, I'm seeing like, okay, I can see how many calls we've had, masterclass registrations, and all this stuff. But when I look at sales, how do you attribute sales? And I know you've talked about this before, where some people are like, Laurel, your ad system isn't getting me sales, but they don't realize like it's building this whole ecosystem, which I totally get. But then like, how do I know, like,
so let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
If we completely turned all of your ads off,
yeah,
would that freak you out?
Yes. 100%.
That's
right. Okay.
Like literally, like I once had to have this conversation with a client. Yeah. It didn't turn out well because I ended up like firing her. Like she was like, she didn't want to attribute the middle of funnel sales to my ads.
Yeah.
And I said, okay, cool. So I'm going to go into and it pissed her off, but I was trying to prove a point. But then I was like, no, there's no getting through to her. I was like, okay, cool. I'm going to go in and I'm going to turn all of these ads off since you don't need my ads.
Yeah.
And I was like, prove it, like point proven. And she's like, but she's like, but we sold. I was like, you would not have these leads to close if these ads were not running. And so that's always the question to ask yourself, right? Like, it's like, okay, if you think something's not working, think about like, turn them off for a week.
Well, like, here's me. I'm like super impulsive. So I'll be like, I think it's working. And what I did, I told them, I was like, put $500 this month because it's working. And they were like, hold on. They were like, send us your numbers. So I'm like, okay, let me send them my numbers. But then I look at sales and I'm trying to source like where the sales came from. And I know from talking to some of these people, some were referrals. But in my head, I'm like, okay, somebody might have told them about me, but they went to my page. And then what happened? They got retargeted. And that's why they're on this call right now. So like, that's why I'm like, okay, in the sales source section, I'm like, do I put referrals? How is this useful information, I guess, to give them like where the sales came from? Right?
It's very hard to gauge that kind of stuff. And that's why like, I'm always like, here's the way that I look at it. Does my revenue match?
That's what I'm wondering. Should I just be looking at a bottom line revenue? That's the way that I look at it, because I know it. I just know it's working. Right. Yeah, that's what I'm feeling too. I just wanted to make sure I wasn't missing something. So I'm like putting in these sources. I'm like, referral is like half the story. Like that's not like that's not the whole
You
story.
can use a system like Hyros and it's still not 100%, but I know that there's a way Hyros and Go High Level, they work together and like you could actually see where was the very first touch point and then follow them through the entire thing. And I'm just like, that just sounds exhausting. I'm like, I put this much money in and I get this much money out. Cool, I'm good.
Same. And like, I literally had someone join who said, oh, I heard about you because one of your students went on a podcast to talk about her toy. And then she started following me and then she joined. I'm like, that's, you can't, yeah. Okay. Well, thanks. I just want to make sure I'm not like missing something.
No,
so we're just going to put more money. Tina's here. We're putting more money.
Yeah, no, it, and that's one of the things too that I talk about actually, like in the beginning of my book, right? I tell you guys, hey, like this is the shot of my ads manager, the first time my business hit $1 million. And it actually said that I was losing money, right? And I had spent, I want to say it was like what, $36,000 on ads to make my first $1 million. The ads manager said 0.52 ROAS, which means for every dollar I was putting in, I was only getting 50 cents back, right? Which means I would lose money. But it's because of like all of the because of the referrals, because it does happen where people will say, hey, go check out Laurel. They'll go to my website and then they'll get retargeted and then they'll put that they got referred by this person, which they did, but it all worked together. Like, I don't know how many Uber drivers now have my book, or that before I had my book, like I would tell them, hey, go to Ad Coaching for 7 because they were all entrepreneurs. I've had so many people because they went to my website, they were my Uber driver. They'll be like, hey, remember 9 months ago, I was your Uber driver. I was like, wow. Oh my God. He was like, I couldn't get away from your ads. And then there was another, whenever I had had my shoulder surgery, if you guys remember 2 years ago, I met a woman, very memorable name. Her name was Robin Williams. And I met her at rehab, and it took her 2 years to come into the $7 program. She's like, I just couldn't get rid of you for 2 years. But I had met her in person, and she went to my website, and my retargeting ads just kept following her and following her. So that's what I'm saying. Like, you might get someone from this place, but if you have the ecosystem in place, the ads are going to make you hard to forget.
Right. Do you do the ecosystem for LinkedIn? Did you add that yet?
I do an organic ecosystem for LinkedIn. So basically I use it as I use it for a top of funnel strategy. Here's why. Because now that I started speaking, and especially after the book came out, I don't know, but all of a sudden after the book came out, people have been going to my LinkedIn. And so I just started putting all of my stuff on the LinkedIn, and I'm using it as a top of funnel strategy to get people into my YouTube channel. Okay. Yeah, LinkedIn is not really my jam, even though
if you ever add it, you should.
Well,
because I could have 2 different ecosystems. I could have like consumers and then corporate.
Well, no, you absolutely can. Yeah. We run the ecosystem strategy on LinkedIn.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Yes, but not for me personally, because I'm not, logging into LinkedIn makes me so anxious because of all the like DMs. But here's how we effectively use it for top of funnel. So whenever you're running ads on LinkedIn, you have to know a couple of things. One, the CPMs are much higher. The click-through rates are much lower, and it's more expensive because you have to run $10 a day per ad. Like, it's not like Facebook, how you can like do this, right? And so when you're running things like the Hot 7, you have to put all of the 7 ads in that same campaign. Otherwise, you're going to be spending $10 a day per retargeting ad, which is way too much money, right? And so that's one of the changes. So what we do for LinkedIn is we have a company that we use for direct outreach. So if someone has a VSL, right, and we use the pixel data. We use eBooth plus a VSL, like a VSL landing page. And so we have someone that's directly messaging. So we use direct outreach on LinkedIn top of funnel, and we use the ecosystem middle of funnel. So we use ads middle of funnel on LinkedIn versus top of funnel, because top of funnel ads just aren't, it's just not. So I can pay $2,000 for a client, and they'll send 100 messages a week to all of the right people. We know that they're targeted. They're using Sales Navigator. It's worth paying $2,000 instead of spending $2,000 and running top of funnel ads on LinkedIn. You know what I'm saying? So they'll spend $2,000 to someone who's sending out massive amounts of direct response to a VSL that then gets retargeted. And then we use the ecosystem to retarget all of that.
Okay. Okay.
And
Thanks. That's-
we have found that to be much easier than spending $2,000 top of funnel on LinkedIn.
Mm,
Cool.
thanks. That was awesome. Thank you.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I should probably use that as to like how we use my ecosystem on LinkedIn, because that is a question that we actually get a lot. Awesome. Man, I am out of coffee, so you guys know what that means. I'm out of juice. I know we went a little long today, but you know, we had some really great questions. And for those of you guys who are new, it was welcome. Let's see, we had Barack that was new, Rebecca that was new. So many new faces. Jen that was new. Man, I am super, super excited to have you guys. And yeah, the next call we'll have third Thursday of the month. It'll be another engage the field call. So that's kind of a little bit different framework on that. If you haven't watched the last one that we did last month, I have it pinned inside the featured section. Basically the framework is, hey, here's the resource that you use. So maybe you launched a $5 ad. So the resource that you used was the power content. Here's how you did it. Here's what happened. And it's either a share, a win, or we need help with optimizing. So that's kind of like the framework. So if you want to be in the hot seat of that call, make sure you're engaging the field, make sure you're bringing data, right? In Rebecca's case, right? She could be like, hey, I ran ads to this funnel. Here are my numbers. Here's what happened. And help, I need someone to, I need to optimize this. And so that's kind of the framework of those calls. And then everyone wins, right? Because everyone's like, oh, she used that power content. So everyone gets to actually see my program in action and the results of either a sharing a win or optimization. So it's highly valuable for anyone who's sitting in the room, whether you are in the hot seat or if you just want to, you know, be a fly on the wall for that. But we're going to be doing that on the next call. And yeah, I appreciate all of you guys. And I hope you guys have an amazing week. If you guys need anything, the Ask Laurel thread should be posted shortly. Bye, guys.